Okay, I'm told that I should be live now. Okay. Okay. Have Are you able to hear me now, Hans? Okay, then thank you and good evening, everyone. It's 8 o'clock, and I want to thank you all for inviting me in. I titled today's presentation, 3 Steps to Success. It's been an extremely interesting time for me, and while we're waiting for additional people to sign in, I want to give you an update on our this month's star of the month, Rosa. Now, as many, if not all of you know, Rosa started the program July 11th of last year. She went on transition 6 weeks ago. In the 11 months that she was on the program, she lost an astonishing 157 pounds. I attribute the loss to her sticking with the AccuWeight Loss program, but her support system was a major factor. She looks absolutely phenomenal. She was terrified of going on transition, and we had to hold her hand and coax her to do so. She's now started her 7th week of transition, and I'm happy to say that her anxiety and tension is coming under control. The difference in this woman is absolutely incredible. And I'm not only talking about her body. Her sense of self, her sense of confidence, the way she walks, the anxiety of putting the weight back is very, very slowly receding into the background. And the best part is when I have conversations with her, and I do see her once a week. She's experimenting. She's doing things to make foods more palatable and exciting. And I can see the confidence in knowing now that she has a plan, she's going to be keeping the weight off. And that's part of this 3-step message to success that I want to talk with you about. I also want to talk about a man about 5'6", who started the program 3 weeks ago. It's his 2nd time on the program. The first time, he was good for 2 weeks, and then his emotions his history, his use of food for comfort and escape took over, and he dropped out of the program. His doctor, who had been a patient of mine, saw him about a month ago and told him that it was imperative that he lose the weight if he wanted to keep his health. He came to me and said, Dr. Schwartz, you are my last hope. I really don't want to do this. I use food to distract me, to comfort me, to reward myself. And as you know, I'm very successful in the business world. But as you can see, I'm 5'6" and I weigh 350 pounds. I shared with him the Magic Protocol. He's been on the program for 2 weeks. And I'm excited to tell you that as of as of Thursday of last week, in 2 weeks, he's down 15 pounds. He attributes it to the Magic Protocol because he learned one thing. He's been holding things in most of his life. And so he stuffs himself with food to hold in everything that he does. Obviously, he's successful in business so that he has competence, but food has always been his Achilles heel. The Magic Protocol was something that I told him that he had to take charge. And regardless of how he felt, every single time that he was tempted to cheat, that he would verbalize, do the Qigong, put the candy in his mouth, and tell his inner child to join him. 15 pounds, 2 weeks, I'll report in. We're only at 2 weeks in. And as Dr. Chu would say, one swallow does not a summer make. Now, I need to talk with you about everything and anything but AccuWeight Loss. You see, you and I both know that I would not be talking with you and you would not be listening to me if I had to talk about AccuWeight Loss. You join the program because you know it works. It's been working for almost 21 years as AccuWeight Loss. The program is totally healthy. Think about it. The food we feed you is what we feed an infant. Milk, fruits, and vegetables. They sustain and help an infant grow, and they will sustain you and help you grow. The beads block your brain from counting calories, and because your brain can't count calories, The alarm bell, starvation, does not go off. You burn fat for energy. All of this is absolutely wonderful, except for one thing. What the man said to me, Dr. Schwartz, food is my escape. Food is my distraction. Food is something that gives me enjoyment. It overrides all the pressures that I'm under, and I get relief and I get escape. The reason we're together today is to look at the steps, but in a different kind of way. You see, getting ourselves to act in a manner which we have not acted before means taking control. And there are all kinds of fears and anxieties that people have in taking control. And one of those fears is, what happens if I take control and it doesn't work? Well, here's the beauty. We have 21 years of experience saying that if we follow the rules that you accept for yourself, because you are the one that will need to use the rules and apply them to your own life, then in 100% of the cases, you will lose weight, you will change your life, and if the comments that I get are anything rational and reasonable, it says people's lives are changing because they are becoming the most important person in their own world. If you are empty and have to fill yourself up, there's very little to go around to give to others. But if you are in a healthy way filled up with yourself, remember, you can't be selfish unless you have a self. Now, what I want to talk to you about, step number 1. I've told you before that the most successful program that I'm aware of for addiction, and all of us who are overweight have become addicted to food. Now, an addiction is something that takes your power away. And so if you are an addict, and food is what we're talking about, is your addiction, we have to address it. Alcoholics Anonymous is the most successful program for addiction. One of the reasons is the reason we're here now. Every single one of us, including me, is an addict. And we are admitting to people like ourselves that we are addicted. The people who go to AA look around, and every single person in the room, including themselves, because all of them are sharing the fact in a safe environment that they are weak and helpless. They're all in the same boat and want to control that addiction. So the first thing we must learn to do, and that's where the groups that we've developed, they're anonymous. You have a name. You even don't need to give a picture, and that's the list and the Facebook secret group. Everybody is the same there. We're all struggling with our weight and our addiction to food. And if we share, we're going to let out what we've been holding in. And it will be a first and major step in our lives to addressing that addiction. The second thing is the AccuWeight Loss Magic Protocol. I created the Magic Protocol because I wanted to do a run around outside of the box so we did not have to deal emotionally with all of the issues that we all face in being tempted and wanting food. The AccuWeight Loss Magic Protocol has no emotion attached to it. You just follow the steps and it works. And it works 100% of the time, because the instant you put that candy in your mouth, you give up control, because we can't say no and be successful. But with the candy in your mouth, anything we do to cheat would taste terrible. And so we don't cheat. So by giving up control, but we are the ones because we put the candy in our mouths. Give up control and get control back. So what I want to talk with you about right now is a major component to both AccuWeight Loss and the Magic Protocol. And that's the Qigong breathing. First of all, I want to let you know that based upon what I have read in short bursts, the Qigong breathing is a form of meditation. And what I've learned is that meditation causes the body to increase its production of something, an enzyme called telomerase. Telomerase is the enzyme that is used by the body to build and replicate the telomeres, which are at the tips of our DNA, are critical factors in our immune system and also in our longevity. As the telomeres get shorter, everything else about us weakens. So if we can increase the production of telomerase, our immune systems will be stronger and we will live longer and healthier. So I urge you to listen to what I'm going to do next, because I'm going to demonstrate how I want you to do the Qigong breathing. I also want to say this. All of you have competence in different areas. The one thing we are all weak about is how we deal with food. For us to say no is to set ourselves up for failure. So I created in part the Magic Protocol so that we wouldn't have to say no, we would bypass it, and we would say this instead. Now, the Qigong breathing is very interesting. Number one, when you do the Qigong, There is nothing else that you can do. You actually force everything in your life to stop. And when you do the breathing, it centers you, relaxes you, and focuses you. But it does one other thing. Since you are the one who's doing the breathing, acknowledge that you have the strength to say to your entire world, I'm in charge. I'm the one who's doing the breathing. I'm in control. Now, to the breathing itself. I'm going to demonstrate. I want you to hear and see. Mouth closed. Full breath in through the nose. I'm going to take a very, very, very deep breath. I will not hold it. As soon as my lungs are filled, I'm going to slowly force the air out, all the while thinking how good it feels and how relaxing it is. I'm going to empty my lungs, but I will not let it get uncomfortable. As soon as I reach that point of discomfort, I will count with my fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing normally, and then repeat it a second time and a third time. Here we go. Mouth closed, full breath in through the nose, slowly out through the mouth. Here we go. Now, I actually could have done it longer, but I didn't want to burden you. It took just a couple minutes. Now, I submit to you that all of you, barring an emergency, will accomplish every important thing on your list every day. But to have yourself on the list, especially if you're an addict, is very difficult. Doing the Qigong breathing makes you visible on the list of accomplishments for the day. It centers you. It focuses you. It relaxes you. And it feels so good. You do this for 2 weeks. And I would love for any of you who's done it on a regular basis, every time they do the beads, then to do 3 breaths and to use it for the magic protocol, and write to me or call me and tell me they don't see an incredible difference in how they feel, how they think, their energy levels, the fact that they're more centered in their own lives, and beginning to recognize that they're more accomplished in everything that they do. Because unless I'm the center of my own world, where am I going to get the supplies to give into the world? I want to thank you for staying with me, and I'm going to turn it over to Hans now for any questions. I will stay as long as questions come in. Thank you for listening, and please, I would love for you to share DRS, that's Dr. S, DRS at AccuWeight.com. Hans, please. Very long and wonderful question asking about losing the weight and then what happens to the body and how do you keep the weight off. First, this is not a diet. I mean that. This is simple weight loss, and you have to differentiate. Pardon me. You have to differentiate, because any diet that you participate in is cannibalistic. And what do I mean by that? You reduce the number of calories and you burn muscle, you burn organ, you leach minerals from the bones, and it impacts on your metabolism. Weight loss does nothing other than cause you to live off your fat. And the reason you live only off your fat is because the beads block your brain's ability to count calories. If your brain cannot count calories, your body cannot recognize that the calories were taken away. So the metabolism continues normally. But it creates a problem. The problem is you actually are being starved despite the fact that your body does not go into starvation mode. Your liver then turns to your stored fat, and you live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week off your fat. The reason for transition and maintenance has several aspects. First, there is something called, weight set point. If you will look at your history, you'll see that your weight gain was not on a steady level. There were steps, and each one of those steps lasted for a period of time. When you went on the program, you were up here. And now, 15 pounds minimum every 30 days, you've come down here. That weight set point is still back where it was. And it takes the body about 2 months to readjust that set point, and that's one of the reasons for transition. And I will repeat myself, and I would like anyone to prove to me that what I'm saying is not so. On this program, you will not burn muscle, organ, you will not leach minerals from the bones, and it will not impact on your metabolism. You will only lose fat. So physiologically, there are no meaningful changes. Everything remains the same. And so do our habits. Now, Dr. Chu, in his brilliance, said to me, Dr. Schwartz, the reason maintenance programs fail is because people on the outside are telling people who've dieted how to live. You cannot tell people how to live. They'll do it for a week, they'll do it for a month, they'll do it for 2 weeks, they'll do it for 3 months, and then they rebel. So all maintenance programs fail. I have a better idea. Let's get our program participants to tell us how they want to live. Let us show them how to create a personal lifestyle using what they want. And if they can design something that they're willing to live with, there's no one to fight with except themselves. Our transition maintenance program works for 85% of the people who involve themselves and complete it. 85% of the people on average who've gone through our transition maintenance program are keeping the weight off for an average of 6 years and 11 months. But you have to be important enough in your own life to do it. I can't tell you what the transition maintenance program is because you're the one who has to design it. We're just going to hold your hand while you do. Hans? You're welcome. First of all, I would be interested in determining whether you are lactose intolerant. Milk is something that needs to be digested in the stomach. There are many people, I am now one of them, who in later life cannot drink milk in its normal form. And so I drink the red label Lactaid milk because they have put the lactate enzyme into that milk. To me, it tastes a little creamier, but the lactase enzyme put into the milk allows my stomach to digest the milk, and the nausea, the discomfort disappears. If you are not lactose intolerant, then we need to try some of our alternatives, one of which is hemp milk, and the other is something I've personally recently discovered. It's a vegan milk. It's called Ripple. And since it's vegan, it does not have any of the issues that regular milk has. The only thing that we need to do is add some supplement to it, and that's very easy to accomplish. So the first thing I would try immediately is the red label Lactaid milk. If that deals with the problem, then it's gone. You're welcome. Hans? As Dr. Chu would say, one swallow does not a summer make. No one little thing or mistake. This is not a diet. It's a chemical reaction program. The milk days melt fat. The enzymes in the fruits and vegetables dissolve the liquefied fat. The amount of milk that you had in your coffee had to be overall minimal, and unless you continue to do that and alter the chemistry of the program, the odds are very strong that there will be no negative effect at all. So just let it go and learn to forgive yourself. Next question, Hans. The answer is absolutely yes. In case you didn't hear, the question was, can I do the program even after I've had bypass surgery? The answer is absolutely yes. You see, the problem is very simple. Unless we are the center of our own worlds, unless we control, unless we have a plan that we're willing to live with, it's irrelevant, because people are rebellious, and you can't unwillingly put them into a box. The reason gastric bypass people put the weight back is because their desire to use food for comfort and escape remains. They haven't altered that. AccuWeight Loss helps them, and then helps them finish that off with the transition and maintenance program. So, answer is simple. Do the program. Let us teach you. 15 pounds minimum every 30 days. Do the transition and learn to live. Next question, Hans. The answer, and whenever I'm asked that question, forgive me for laughing. Tomatoes are actually a fruit. But to be very honest with you, I would hesitate very strongly putting a tomato into my fruit salad. So that I would use tomato as a vegetable and use it by weight, and I would not use it as one of my fruits. Hans? That's a very simple question. Why is vinegar not permitted? This is a chemical program. Vinegar is actually acetic acid. Acetic acid will alter the chemistry of your program, and by altering the chemistry of the program, your brain will become aware of the fact that we are actually starving you, and the program will cease to work. That's why I created my new salad dressing, so that whereas most people use vinegar as part of their salad dressing, if you use the spices that you find in the envelopes with your salad dressing, take the avocado, mix it in water, add the spices, you have an absolutely marvelous salad dressing, and we don't have any of the issues, so that you get your 15 pounds every month, and I can smile because I've helped someone out. No vinegar. Next question, Hans. Is there a limit on Crystal Light? Yes. 1 quart of Crystal Light, I recommend no more than that. Hans? The answer to the question will be given in just a moment. First, I want to back off and repeat the chemistry so that it's understood. Milk is an emulsifier. If you take flour and you take water and try to make dough, it flies all over the place. Built into milk is an emulsifier. That emulsifier breaks down the chemical reaction between the flour and the water, which repel each other, neutralize it so that they come together. Milk has this emulsifier in it, and it liquefies fat. When you cheat, you're upsetting the chemistry. So we always restart with milk so that we have melted fat for the fruits and vegetables to digest or dissolve. So whenever you cheat, you always restart with dairy. Hans? That's an absolutely marvelous question. First, I'm very, very proud of our results. In the almost 21 years that we've been in business, our program has worked with over 7,000 type 2 diabetics, except for one. And there were other reasons involved. 100% of the type 2 diabetics who have done our program have been clinically cured of their diabetes. What does that mean? It means functionally they live normal lives without any medication, with blood sugars between 90 and 130, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why? Because their bodies heal themselves, and the insulin resistance, which is part of the diabetic issue, breaks down. But it's not 1, 2, 3. There's a method of titrating patients down off their medications, which is dictated on a daily basis by their blood sugar numbers. Answer: it's an absolutely marvelous program for any type 2. Hans? The first appointment, particularly if you've done the free orientation, runs about an hour. And the reason it runs about an hour, we can't just let you come in, put on your beads, and let you leave. We need to have a discussion. We need to make sure that when you leave, you're clear about your commitment and how you're going to do it. So I would say if you're coming for the first time, an hour. If you have not done the orientation, it'll be much longer than that. And part of that reason is I'll be asking you, what was it that you wouldn't want to spend 22 minutes listening to the free orientation, learn about the program, instead of spending an hour and a half in the office? Our times, yours and mine, are very valuable. So an hour. Thank you, Hans. Next. I guess she's meaning transition and maintenance. Once you've taken the weight off, it's wonderful. You can go off into the wild blue yonder, go back to your old habits, and put the weight back. Or you can create a personal lifestyle that will help you keep the weight off with our help. Remember, we will not tell you what to eat. We're simply going to teach you how to eat. So transition and maintenance are the next steps. Hans? The only salad dressings that are permitted would be ones that do not contain vinegar. That's the reason I created the salad dressing that we recommend with the spices, the avocado, and the water. With salt, pepper, lemon juice, Mrs. Dash, adobo spices. There are many homemade recipes that people have. Many of them are on our website, but no commercial dressing that I'm aware of would be legal during the AccuWeight program itself. Next question. It's an interesting and really good question. First of all, let's understand something. From a caloric point of view, whether it be milk days or fruit vegetable days, the amount of caloric intake is negligible. You cannot sustain life on it. The reason the program works is because the massage of the beads blocks the brain's ability to count calories. Since there is no metabolic reaction, your liver then enters into the scene, breaks down fat into sugar, and we live off the sugar. The key then is to understand that the only way then to put on weight, because the amount of food you're eating is minimal, is almost always something to do with hormones in women and water retention for both men and women. Don't ever go day by day. Anyone who knows me will tell you that in the 21 years almost that we've been in business, the only thing they've ever heard out of my mouth, 15 pounds minimum loss, 30 days. No one has ever heard me say, this week, next week, milk days, vegetable days. Don't get hung up. It's going to make you crazy. Do the program, lose the 15, and let's smile together. Hans? Now, I'm not certain about anything in that area. And let me explain why. People's lifestyles are such that we live in an environment where there are all kinds of things, processed foods, sugars, etc. Detox is something that I recommend once or twice a year. Now, the reason for that is the same reason you take your car in for a tune-up. It runs more effectively and more efficiently. I will say this, however, and some people will not be comfortable with what I say. I have a group of patients who have lost the weight and refuse to do any kind of maintenance program. These people have heard me say that if you gain no more than 10 pounds and never let it go beyond that, that it will not be a significant medical problem in your history. And these are people who come in when they've gained. I had one today. He's put on 9 pounds. I have not seen him since March of last year. From March of this year. Since March, he's put on 9 pounds. He came in today, said, Dr. Schwartz, please don't say a word. I want to take off my 9 pounds. I like my life. He went on the program. I assume 2 weeks on the program, he will take off the 9 pounds, and I am his maintenance program. So I do recommend detox, and I recommend it for effectiveness and efficiency, and that's a personal choice. Hans? Okay. I have a doctor's degree from Fordham University in psychology. I was a full-time licensed psychologist since the early 60s. I was trained in this methodology by Dr. Joseph Chu, who was then a professor at UMDNJ, was conducting an experiment on the hypothalamus. He trained me in this methodology, and that's how AccuWeight Loss was born. I have never claimed to be a physician, and I'm not a physician, and I don't know what else the person would like, but by the way, I also have 2 master's degrees, one in psychology and one in social work. Next question, Hans. The answer to that one is simple. Once the program is over, there are no prohibited foods. We change from weight loss to learning how to live. You decide what to eat. Our job is to teach you how to create a personal lifestyle so that the only one you're responsible to is yourself. So the answer is there are no prohibited foods once we start transition. Next question, Hans. You can make a vegetable fruit smoothie at any time. The only thing that I would point out is that too many smoothies will reduce the amount of chewing, and chewing for many people psychologically is a big issue, so that I would temper making smoothies with supplementing with chewing activities as well. Next question. You know, Costco sells this seaweed. It's little filmed sheath, as thin as cellophane. They are absolutely delicious. They make an absolutely marvelous snack, and they are absolutely legal on fruit vegetable days. The answer to that is yes. All the recipes are for anyone who is doing the program, and very soon we're going to be restricting that access to the recipes to only those who are on the program. And that's because of the fact that some of the copycats have been sending their people to the recipes and altering those recipes, and we've been getting people who've used these imposters coming to us with various medical problems. So to kind of restrict that from happening in the very near future, it's going to be only but the recipes themselves, they're absolutely marvelous, and I would recommend that anyone looking for a change and something to look forward to try the recipes out. Next question, Hans. Let me answer that in the long form. Think of black coffee and think of plain water. Water goes right into the system. Black coffee has to first go and be cleansed through your liver. And in the process of cleansing in your liver, much of the water is lost because the body has to use water to cleanse. Therefore, the lighter the color of the liquid, the more hydrating it is. So water, club soda, these 0-calorie flavored waters and seltzers are the most terrific. Tea, by gradations of color, is marvelous and wonderful, but the darker the color, the less hydrating it will be. Next question, Hans. The answer is it's an actual 3-phase program. Weight loss. And AccuWeight Loss is solely for losing weight. Once you have reached your goal is transition. Transition is the period of time where you will create a personal lifestyle. No foods are prohibited. You're going to learn how to eat what you want to eat. And once the period of transition has ended, is the 3rd phase, which is maintenance, where you get your wings. And what we do initially is, today is your first day of maintenance. Come back in a month. After the month, you come back, we talk, you get on the scale, and then we tell you, come back in 2 months. In 2 months you come back, now 3 months have transpired, same thing, and now we tell you to come back in 3 months. Once those 1 month, 2 months, and 3 months period have ended, you've been off transition for 6 months. We will then have a discussion about what's going on. If you've maintained your weight, then you've learned how to live, and we develop an exit strategy at that point. So 3 phases. Lose it, love it, learn to live with it. Next question, Hans. No, there is no limit to the intake of electrolytes. But I'm thinking it through as I'm answering. My mother, who was an English scholar, would say to me, Charles, a surfeit of anything diminishes its former quality. As I grew up, I learned that it meant, Charles, too much of a good thing is too much. So be sensible, don't overdo anything. Electrolytes are absolutely wonderful, and I personally love the red rooibos tea. I think it's a perfect electrolytic supplement, and I think everyone should use it. It does marvelous and wonderful things. Red rooibos tea. Hans? The answer to that is yes. Clean Eats approached us a long time ago, and I'll talk about me personally. I thought some of the foods that I tasted were actually absolutely marvelous. For people who have a difficult time preparing or don't want to cook, I think the choices are absolutely marvelous. And to my knowledge, they have a regular non-AccuWeight Loss Clean Eats program. And anyone, whether you're on AccuWeight Loss or not, can avail themselves of their services. I have a number of patients here in the West Orange office who order 1 or 2 weeks worth of food, have it delivered, freeze it, and therefore no cooking, and it's certainly Clean Eats. So the answer is yes, and I think they're terrific. Hans? That's an interesting question. Now, I'm going to pose something, and here's what I'm going to pose. First, I do not understand in a concrete form. I could not lose anything after that. What I heard the person say is that in the first 3 weeks, they lost the 15 pounds. It's very possible that the body took a little time off in the 4th week, but the AccuWeight Loss program must cause you to lose weight unless there is an undiagnosed medical problem. So that question is too vague for me to give a more elaborate answer because there's more information that I would need. What I will say, though, is that person having lost 15 pounds after 3 weeks had achieved their goal, and had they been on the program long term, I would have at that point given them a new promise of an additional 15 starting at the end of the 3rd week for the subsequent month. In other words, I'm saying you don't get punished for doing better. Hans? Then I'd like to ask, okay. I'm not sure I understand the question. Type 2 diabetes occurs when the person's ability to metabolize sugar is impaired so that the insulin sugar balance in the body is disturbed, the amount of insulin produced by the pancreas is not enough to sustain, and the pancreas cannot keep up. I cannot, because I'm not competent, to discuss the merits of any other program other than AccuWeight Loss. What I do say is anyone who does AccuWeight Loss within a reasonable period of time, 2 months, let's say maximum, should have their diabetes under control, should not be needed to take any medication, and their sugar should be in the normal range 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For those of you who are still there, sharing is an important thing. It helps all of us. I got 3 emails today from people who are on the program telling me about their experience. The more you share, the more all of us will grow. Please write to me, drs@accuweight.com. Thank you all for listening. I'll be with you again soon. Remember to watch my Friday morning videos. Bye.